Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today I'm here to have a chat with you guys. I have some important things that I'd like to talk with you about that have been on my mind for a while, and today I saw some more examples of what I want to talk about. So if you are, especially if you're new to the wig wearing journey, or if you are really susceptible to other people's opinions and comments, I want you to stick around and listen to what I have to say on this topic. I think it's really important, and I think it will be helpful to you in your wig wearing journey, but actually in all aspects of your life. So let's get going. I attempted to make this video a few times over the past couple of months, and it just never felt right to me. I never felt like I really had the gist of what was on my heart and what I'm trying to say. But today I was perusing some of the Facebook groups and I was reading some of the comments, and regardless of whether I feel like I'm ready to talk about this or not, I think it is super, super important, and that is why I'm making this video. So I have encouraged you guys a lot to join Facebook groups and to get support from fellow wig sisters, especially if you're new to the wig wearing journey, because it's difficult in the beginning. And for some of us, it's extremely difficult in the beginning. And so having people to reach out to who understand what you're going through in a way that family and friends simply do not, and being able to ask questions, being able to see wigs on a variety of people. So if you're considering a style, being able to go into a Facebook group and asking people to post pictures of them if they own that style can all be super helpful. But like any good thing, there are potential negatives, and I want to talk with you about what some of the negatives of social media and reaching out to strangers are, because I see so many people falling victim to these things, and it's so concerning to me. What I'm talking about is when people that you don't know offer advice or opinions on things, and you panic over that advice if it is different from what you have been thinking or your own experience. And sometimes we let the opinions and advice of others influence us, or maybe have undue influence on us in ways that don't make sense, because we don't have any idea what these people's qualifications are to be sharing this information. An example is someone posted in a Facebook group recently that I'm in that basically the whole post was bell tress fibers suck and she hates them. And that sparked a huge response on both sides of the aisle. People who love bell tress and heat friendly and wanted to share that, people who completely agree, and it became almost an us versus them kind of situation. People on the side of I like heat friendly, people on the side of I don't like heat friendly, and there was no room to meet in the middle in some of these. It was truly, it seemed like you're wrong and I'm right. And that's just one example. And if you guys were part of that post, if you even created that post, I am not calling you out. This is just an example of what I'm talking about. I have seen on my own videos when I will post a wig and someone will respond, oh, that's an ugly style, or that looks terrible on you, or, just any type of an opinion. That's another example where you might have a wig sister who is brand new to this journey and almost ready to give up. Just, it's not working. Nothing looks good on them. Everything looks wiggy on them. They're really struggling. And if they read some of these negative comments, it could really set them back on their wig journey if you allow yourself to be unduly influenced by some of this. Maybe you liked that style, or maybe you just purchased a heat-friendly wig, and now you see these negative comments about these things, and you panic, and you think you might have made a mistake. I also, on the same line, kind of in the same vein of this, I also see people giving advice on how to care for wigs that I personally think is terrible advice. I can't even believe that even has worked for anyone. And it makes me very concerned that a lot of people will take that type of advice as gospel, go do these things to their wigs, and potentially ruin them. I've seen people recommend putting wigs in boiling water to fix damaged fibers. And I see this from a lot of people, and maybe it works on some wigs, in some circumstances, under some conditions. But I've also seen people say that they've ruined their wigs trying that. And so what concerns me is that when we're desperate for answers and when we're struggling on this journey, we're willing to try anything, and we're willing to take anyone's advice who gives it, especially people who come across as being authorities on the topic. But we don't know if they are. We don't know what their real experience is. We don't know how long they've been doing this. And so I want to caution you, and even with my own videos, when I share things with you, tips and tricks and things, don't just take what I do as gospel. It's information, and you compile it all, but you try to make sure you're getting some well-rounded information. And then if you do choose to take advice from someone and try the tip or whatever it is that they've told you, that you're very careful about it. Every single thing in this journey has context, and something that will work for one person, you don't know all the details surrounding that. You don't know if they tell you to boil your wig. Should the water be a rolling boil? Should you shut the water off or keep the heat on? Do you dip the whole wig in, including a potential lace front and a monofilament, which I believe will ruin those things, or just the ends? How long do you put it in the water? I mean, just what wig did the person use? Not every wig is created equal, and all fibers are slightly different, even heat friendly. Raquel Welch heat friendly fibers are probably slightly different from Belle Tress, which is slightly different from John Renault. You know, they all use different manufacturers. There's lots of different materials. Wigs are not all identical. So when you take heat to a wig, or when you do something to a wig, you may try that on another wig and it won't work. And that's the problem with taking advice from people that you don't know. A while back, I did a Small Business Saturday video on someone who's become a friend of mine, and she has a small business where she provides consultations to people in the wig journey. You can do Zoom calls with her. She has got 30 years of I don't know if it's 30, I can't remember, double-digit years of experience as a hairstylist. Then she suffered from hair loss. Then she got experience with wigs, and she combined her hairstylist experience with her wig experience, and now this is her business. And she supports women on the wig wearing journey. She can help you. She sells wigs. She can help you modify wigs. You can send her wigs, and she'll cut bangs in them. She'll thin them. She knows how to modify caps. All of those things. And she and I had a conversation about this. By the name, her name is Sherry Schaefer, and her business is, I believe it's My Wig Coach. I'll put the details in the description below for you, and also link the video I did on this topic. She and I had a conversation about this when I was consulting with her about a purchase and sort of interviewing her for my Small Business Saturday to learn more about her. And, you know, we talked about how sometimes we will be in these Facebook groups reading these comments and just cringing because we think the advice is not good advice. And based on our own experience. And her experience is much more extensive than mine. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about doing some consulting. I've done this for a few people already. They paid me to help them find a wig. I spent, you know, a number of hours with them, and I did research for them. One person in particular came over and tried on a whole bunch of wigs, and they paid me. And I thought, this could be a great small business idea for me as I'm trying to balance my personal needs with my family and my desire to help my wig sisters, and needing to sort of bring in a little bit of income so I can finance this. You know, I can finance the time I spend on this. I can purchase more products. But after talking with her, I really thought better of that. And I may still do that in the future or on one-offs if people ask me, but her experience is so much more vast than mine. I've only been wearing wigs for 4 years, and I'm not great at modifying them. And she is sort of full service. And so I sort of put that on hold, but I say that because there are legitimate people out here who really know what they're talking about. They can put their money where their mouth is, and they do publicly. And then there are your casual wig wearer sisters who have maybe done some things with their own wigs. They've cut bangs into them, or they've, revived older wigs and things like that. But the problem is you don't know the difference between the people who really know what they're talking about and your armchair quarterback who maybe has only been doing this for a year and doesn't have the vast years of experience. I mean, to know long term what certain treatment of wigs will do, you can only know that if you've been doing it for a long time. Somebody who's been wearing wigs for a year or two may not know as much as somebody who's been doing it for 10 years and has tried all different kinds of styles. So I'm kind of rambling here, but the point is I want you to be very, very careful when you read comments from others that you don't give it undue authority over your decision making. In that post I first referenced about the bell tress fibers being terrible, a wig sister that I've been communicating with and who is really struggling with this journey read that, and her comment was, "Oh my gosh, what? I just bought 2 of them." And I could just hear the panic in her post. Because I've talked with her multiple times over chat, I know she's panicking and I know she's struggling. And I responded to her comment just saying, basically, look, everybody has different preferences, and I used to think that I didn't like heat-friendly wigs. I wouldn't buy them for my first few years. Now I love straight heat-friendly wigs. This is a heat-friendly wig. This is Raquel Welch, straight up with a twist. It's been trimmed. I got it from a wig sister who had cut it. And I literally wear it like 4 or 5 times a week. I love it. It's holding up great. I've taken a hot air brush to it a few times. I am finding heat-friendly wigs to be awesome if they're straight and if they're a certain length. I just like the fibers. I would have told you 2 years ago, no way. I wouldn't have wanted them. This is what I'm talking about. Things change in this journey. And I talk to some wig sisters who absolutely hate synthetic wigs. They will not buy synthetic wigs. They will only buy human hair wigs. They think synthetic wigs are terrible. And then I talk to other wig sisters who won't buy human hair. They love synthetic wigs. They can't stand human hair. Is too hot, too much work, too expensive, on and on and on. You hear on both sides of the fence the pros and cons. If you don't have that context, and if you're struggling, then you're vulnerable to another person's valid opinion that may or may not be accurate for your own experience. So I want you to be careful, you guys. You have to be discerning. Like when I tell you not to fall for scams, and if you see a wig for sale and the price is too good to be true, then it probably is. And we get scammed so much in this community because our emotions are tied to this journey. We can be led astray by advice that maybe isn't the best advice for you, and because you're desperate. So I just want you to be careful. I want every time you read something, I want you to take it with a grain of salt. I am not saying that it is, you never take advice that you get here on social media. But if you don't know anything about that person who's offering you the advice, you don't know whether or not what they're sharing is even valid. And so, proceed at your own risk, be cautious, but don't panic when you see somebody make a comment that is the opposite of what you thought was true. And don't let it influence something. If you are going down a path and maybe you're trying heat-friendly wigs and so far you like them, but then you see somebody say they're awful, they're terrible, they don't last, they're this, they're that, and then suddenly you find yourself not wanting to wear your heat-friendly wigs because of that one comment, don't do that to yourself. Some of this is experience, and we all have different preferences. We all like different things. And so because one person doesn't like lace fronts, they think they're too itchy and they irritate them, that doesn't mean that that's going to be your experience. And not all lace fronts are equal. And I personally find if I adhere my wigs with its stays, they don't itch me. If I don't, some of them do. You have to figure these things out by trial and error. It's great to ask people's opinions and kind of put it on the list of things to consider, but don't let it derail you because now suddenly you're doubting yourself. I could go on and on with examples of things where one person loves it, one person hates it. And sometimes people are very, very strong in their opinion. And some people want everybody to agree with them. You know, we have different personalities. I'm pretty laid back and I don't take a lot of things personally. I never really have. And I know that we're all coming at this from different places. So I'm trying to be compassionate when I share information. I try to, you know, maybe give some tough love when I think it's needed. But I definitely don't expect that somebody is going to watch what I have to say and agree with me 100%. That's not realistic. But there are different personalities out there who get very upset if you disagree with them, if you challenge them, if you want to debate and have a different opinion. You don't know these people. You don't know me. I mean, really, at the end of the day, but you don't know these people. And so just know that. Go into it with open eyes. Know that you're going to get good advice. You're going to get bad advice. You're not necessarily going to know how to judge the advice, and then proceed with caution. I've learned a lot from people through trial and error, and I've tried things that people have sworn by and said that they work, and they didn't work for me. But I'm always careful, and I don't do things to my brand new wigs that were expensive, or, you know, unless I am, you know, have maybe gotten the same advice from lots and lots of different people. And that's why I also say it's great to have practice wigs. It's great to purchase cheap Amazon wigs and eBay wigs for those things so you can practice on them, so you can test out some things. If somebody tells you that you can take heat to a synthetic wig, I've told you that. You can take low heat to regular synthetic, but maybe you should test that on a piece that you're not really invested in, or on the underside of a piece, because again, every wig is different, every tool is different, every technique is different, and you just want to be careful that you're not taking advice that leaves you in a bad place by ruining an expensive wig. I hope that this made sense. I hope that this helps you. I hope that if you needed to hear this, you will take this to heart. If you have other things to say on this topic, please leave them in the comments. If you have experience where maybe you have tried some things that seemed like good advice and they weren't, maybe you could share, not what it was, but basically just say, yeah, you know, this is what happened to me, and what you learned from it. But at the end of the day, we're all here because we want to help each other, or we need help. And I just want you to be careful. I love you so much, you guys, all of you. You're my wig sisters, and I want to just be of value to you. I don't ever want to lead you astray. But when I see things that I have concerns about, I really feel the need to share them. I think it's important that we're talking about these things out loud. This isn't just some superficial thing. I mean, for some women, hair loss is completely devastating, and you don't even know how to put one foot in front of the other right now. And so the worst thing that we can do is lead you astray down a path that either you're not ready for, or that plays up on that vulnerability that you currently have. It will get better, and you will start to learn these things. But for now, you may not have the right judgment because of the headspace that you're in around this. Be gentle with yourself, but recognize that, and don't be afraid of this journey just because it's tricky. Just know who you can trust, and start to develop those relationships with people who you know won't steer you wrong, or at least not purposely. All right, you guys, that's all I had. Thank you for watching. I love you, like I said already. I really, truly do, and I'm always here to help. I'll talk to you soon.